This tutorial explores 3D tools available in Adobe Illustrator. The Inflate tool transforms 2D artwork into 3D by expanding it from its center. Extrude Bevel creates 3D objects by extending a 2D shape along a path, adding edges and depth. The Rotate tool spins 2D artwork around a central axis to give a 3D appearance. Revolve creates 3D shapes by rotating a 2D profile around an axis. These tools enable the creation of diverse 3D graphics from simple 2D designs within Adobe Illustrator. The Inflate tool is accessed through the Effect menu under 3D and Materials. The Inflate tool can be applied to a selected shape or text object. Selecting the Inflate option opens a panel with adjustable parameters. Adjusting the parameters modifies the 3D appearance of the selected object. The Inflate depth adjustment puffs out the selected object. Increasing the Inflate depth parameter creates a balloon-like effect. The object's volume changes proportionally with the Inflate depth adjustment. Adjusting the Inflate depth modifies the object's surface curvature. Lighting options within the Inflate panel allow the addition of shadows. Activating shadows enhances the realistic appearance of the inflated object. Lighting options within the Inflate panel allow the addition of highlights. Activating highlights enhances the realistic appearance of the inflated object. Shadows and highlights contribute to the perceived depth and form of the inflated object. Adjusting light parameters fine-tunes the inflated object's visual properties. The Inflate function is used to create rounded graphic elements. Inflate is particularly useful for creating bubble-like text effects. Soft 3D buttons can be easily generated using the Inflate function. The Inflate tool enhances the visual appeal of graphic elements through controlled expansion. The degree of inflation can be adjusted to achieve different levels of roundness and depth. The Extrude Bevel tool is accessed through the Effect menu under 3D and Materials. Selecting a shape is a prerequisite for using the Extrude Bevel tool. The Extrude option allows for adding depth to two-dimensional shapes, creating a three-dimensional effect. The Bevel option rounds the edges of the extruded shape, adding a smooth, polished finish. Extrude depth adjustment increases the perceived depth of a flat object. Increasing extrude depth converts a 2D shape into a 3D block. The Extrude function adds substantial depth to a previously flat object. Adjusting the Extrude depth parameter transforms a 2D object into a 3D block with variable thickness. Bevel styles modify the edges of extruded objects, adding unique design elements. Rounded bevel styles create smooth, curved edges on 3D models. Chiseled bevel styles create sharp, angled edges on 3D models. Experimentation with different bevel styles enhances design, flexibility, and aesthetic appeal. Object rotation in 3D space enables viewing from multiple perspectives. Rotating objects in 3D is critical for assessing and refining the overall 3D effect. Software interfaces provide tools for precise and controlled 3D object rotation. Comprehensive 3D visualization relies on dynamic object rotation for thorough evaluation. Extrude Bevel is a software function used to create 3D logos. Extrude Bevel is a software function used to create packaging mockups. Extrude Bevel is a software function used to create objects that require solid depth. Extrude adds depth to a 2D shape by extending it along the Z-axis. Bevel rounds off sharp edges and corners, creating a smoother, more refined look. Extrude Bevel tools are widely used in graphic design and 3D modeling. The Rotate effect can be applied to a selected shape within the software. Navigate to the 3D and Materials submenu under the Effect menu to access the Rotate tool. Selecting the Rotate option applies a 3D rotation transformation to the selected shape. The Rotate tool allows users to manipulate the orientation of shapes in three-dimensional space. The software interface provides controls for adjusting the rotation along different axes. Applying the Rotate effect transforms a 2D shape into a visually three-dimensional object. Software interfaces allow adjustment of X, Y, and Z axis rotation. Rotation sliders provide control over the object's orientation in 3D space. Adjusting the sliders enables tilting and flipping of the 3D design. Precise control is achieved through incremental adjustments of the axis rotations. The rotation adjustments facilitate optimal viewing and manipulation of the 3D model. The Rotate tool is used to display flat artwork in perspective views. This tool is suitable for icons, posters, and card designs. The Rotate tool creates a perspective view without adding thickness to the object. Software interfaces often include a Rotate tool to manipulate the orientation of 2D objects. The rotation effect simulates depth and dimension on flat surfaces. The Revolve tool creates a 3D shape by rotating a 2D path around an axis. Begin by drawing a simple 2D path that represents the profile of half the desired 3D shape. Access the Revolve tool through the Effect menu under 3D and Materials. The software automatically generates a 3D model by revolving the 2D path. Adjust parameters such as angle and offset to refine the Revolve 3D shape. The Revolve effect in Illustrator creates a 3D object by spinning a 2D path around an axis. This effect is commonly used to model symmetrical objects such as bottles, vases, or glasses. The angle of revolution can be adjusted to create partial or complete 3D forms. Lighting parameters can be modified to refine the appearance of the 3D object. Revolve is a software tool primarily used for creating realistic symmetrical 3D objects. This tool is particularly well suited for applications in product design. The Revolve tool excels at generating objects with radial symmetry around a central axis. Revolve simplifies the creation of complex, symmetrical shapes that would be difficult to model manually.